Are you smarter than a computer? Absolutely leave a comment and thumbs up the video. The channel is actually combating the YouTube algorithm, and we're actually being successful. And I'd like to thank everybody for me hitting 50,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. My name is Shakaama. I want to expose all the stuff that you see, but you don't see. You hear it all the time. This machine thinks faster than a human, or this computer is smarter than a human. And this is the big push for AI, that this artificial intelligence is smarter than humans. And of course, one day will take over the world, according to Elon Musk and even some other prominent scientists. Let me go off script just for a second. Why are they saying that the computers will take over the world, or there'll be a sort of an apocalypse or something like that, or a robot uprising? The problem is not the robot. The problem is the people programming the robot. I'm going to get into this later, but A plus B equals C. That's all the robot knows, and that's all the robot can ever know. Quite a few robots have said some nasty things. They've been dismantled, scrapped, or they went back to the drawing board. A robot has no consciousness. It doesn't feel sorrow. It doesn't feel pain. It doesn't feel hurt. It's not triggered. It's giving the set of parameters. And the ultimate parameter is, this is bad. So the robot goes back into its AI programming and says, what's the solution? And one of the prongs in it is, humans are causing this bad things. Oh, okay. Remove the humans. Does that fix the problem? Yes. Okay. So the solution is to remove all humans. There was a skip in logic. Did you catch it? Humans are causing this problem. The skip in logic is remove all humans. That comes from the programming. That comes from the person that made the robot. That doesn't come from the robot. That comes from the person that made the robot. The superiority of logical mind doesn't put in extra stuff. But if you don't have a logical mind, as being a sophist like me, I admit I'm a sophist, you put in extra stuff simply because you don't really know how to think logically. Oh, you may know that 1 + 1 = 2, but that doesn't mean you don't know, that you do know why 1 is 1 and what plus means. You might not even know that. You're just regurgitating what other people have told you. Well, let's look at this. Are humans smarter than computers or not? Well, the answer might shock you. First, let's talk about savants. What's a savant? A savant is a person, usually a man, like, I don't know of a female savant. So I'm going to go to say he a lot. A savant is a man born with some sort of brain disorder, but they are terribly smart in one area. Now that sounds like he can only count to 10 or something silly, but by area, I mean whatever that area is, it's everything related to that. So if it's calendars and dates, it's every aspect of dates. For instance, a time savant could tell you which day of the week you were born on and which day of the week your birthday will fall on in 10 years. There may be a savant that has echolocation, meaning he can be blind and click his teeth and see everything around him. Or there may be a savant who could tell you what page and paragraph everything is in an entire encyclopedia, full edition, all 12 volumes. Wait, did you know a lot of mind-reading magicians actually do this already? They train themselves to do it. Keep that in the back of your mind, because we're going to come back to this later. When asked how he became a savant, one of them described that it's after a seizure, which is an electroshock to the brain, he gained the power to know everything involving time and dates, and numbers, for that matter. Another said he was just born that way after discovering he could see objects while blind when he clicked his teeth. But an alternative explanation says that it's not that these people are smart, it's that they are kept away from society and the limiting factor of the parents. We're going to go into that right now. They did a study on black children in school, especially black boys. They took this study over years. They first tested the black boys in preschool. They were of average intelligence for their age. They noticed a shocking difference when they got to the first and second grade, and then expanded the study to a much wider testing pool. The black boys were smarter than the white boys and girls. But then sixth grade hit, and they noticed an even more shocking discovery. By the sixth grade, the black boys fell behind. And by high school, they were drastically behind. What was going on? One word: racism. Now, before all of you all go, oh my God, that's wrong. I'm talking about all-encompassing racism happening to each individual child, from within the race and without the race. That's right. Maybe you didn't know. Black people are racist against their own people. It's a psychosis that anybody doing any sort of psychological study will understand immediately. They discovered that the black boys, if they had kept on the trajectory they had been on in the first and second grade, nearly all of them would have been geniuses. But due to racism, they fell way behind, even the white boys. Well, let's go through the discovery. So there is nothing wrong with the boys, obviously. Wait, let's back up. You're probably wondering why I said even the white boys. In America, in the school system, and I'll get back to you adults in a few seconds here. When children enter the system in preschool and kindergarten, there's no difference between boys and girls. They all rip and run around, except nowadays, women are getting preschool boys arrested for playing cops and robbers or cowboys and Indians, because they're insane women, of course, who shouldn't be teaching anything, including their own children, if they have them. Anyway, I got distracted. In preschool, the boys and girls are allowed to run and play a lot. In kindergarten, same thing. Then, first grade starts. For the most part, class participation is encouraged, and the energy of the children is encouraged, including boys. Second grade is a repeat of that. From the third grade to the sixth grade, kids start learning social concepts like boys and girls. Oh, stop. Not anything like I feel like a boy or a girl, which is a psychological disorder. We're talking boys have energy and girls don't. The teacher starts imposing her lack of energy on the class. How do I know? I taught school in college. Now, I taught with a very timid young woman, and the homeroom teacher would take over after we left. So, while we taught the class Spanish, the homeroom teacher would leave. When the timid young woman would step in front of the class, the kids would literally bounce off the walls. She would meekly ask me to calm them down. I wouldn't calm them down, as I would ramp up the class participation. You see, boys have energy, and so do girls. If you're a monster, you tell the children, sit down and be quiet. For what? Just to be a monster, I guess. So instead, I had the kid stand up, come to the front of the class, and answer questions. Now, instead of everyone being quiet, they're all asking and answering questions and taking turns standing up and coming to the front of the class, and no one was really quiet. Because they're all going, oh, Mr. Shakaama, me. When the homeroom teacher comes in, she tells them all to shut up, and they go dead silent. In my opinion, that's horrid. It's just awful. Now, before I go on, let me say, I had a little boy come to the front of the class, and I had him do answering questions, repeat Spanish words, and the whole class repeated, and he had a wonderful time. I come in the next week, and they say, you're fired from the school. The parents of that boy said that you traumatized the boy. I hope they're dead. Now, let me tell you how the spirit is yanked out of children sitting there silent day after day. I don't know where you all live, but I just heard they canceled recess at schools here where I live. Cancel recess? What on earth? So by the 3rd and 4th grade, the girls start complaining that the boys won't be quiet. What they mean is to shut down the boys in complete silence. In my opinion, it's straight up torture to silence boys. And what they really mean is that the boys are making the good grades. Oh, you didn't know that part? So around the 3rd and 4th grade, boys who are so energetic actually throw their energy into school. And so in the 3rd and 4th grade, the boys are making A's and B's, and the girls are not. And so they complained. As the boys jump ahead of us, they raise their arms and they say, me, teacher, me, teacher. And they said they need to stop. And so the women, who are whatever they are, whatever reason they have, and some of them are not good. I repeat, some of the women teaching school are not good. That should not be teaching children, should not be around children. Do you get my drift? I would investigate every single teacher that my child comes in front of. Everyone. Have there been any complaints about this teacher being around children? If so, get that teacher from around my child. That's how to be a parent. Oh, and by the way, the little boy was not traumatized when he came to the board. He was happy, smiling. He'd never done that. You hear me? He had never done that. And he liked he loved the attention. And in fact, it was such a difference. They told me, he doesn't talk. And then when he started talking and answering and asking questions, all that sort of stuff, they were like, they loved him. The classroom responded positively to the little boy, and the little boy drank up everything. I bet he went home excited. He says, I got to go to the front of the class, and I was in charge of the class, and I pointed to people. They asked questions, and Mr. Shakaama answered the question for us, and we repeated. And I bet you the parents are like, well, I have none of that. I hope they're dead. Oh, and for you stupid parents, here's when little Johnny is given pharmaceutical drugs without consent or permission, or even the kid's consent and permission, to keep him silent. I say stupid parents, not because your English word stupid, I don't know the word, not because you're tonto, but because of bad parenting. If I had kids, there's no way my son would get a pill shoved down his throat and he wouldn't immediately phone me. If that was the case, that I gave him a phone for such things, or not come home and tell me right as he got home. I hear stories of parents complaining 6 months after the child has been force-fed pills at school. See, this is the reason I'm not a lawyer, because people let stuff happen to them. Then after it's been done, they come to me. No, I'm not having that. I tell the client off, see, and I can't be a lawyer like that, right? I gotta, you swear an oath to defend your client to the best of your ability, and I'd hate the parent just as much as I hate the evildoers. So the reason the boys and black boys are going back, going back, regressing after the 3rd grade, is because of the internal school workings. But don't be too surprised that the girls are dumbed down too. We all are supposed to be walking around all being super geniuses. What's funny is the powers that be think that only dumb people would work at a fast food job if everybody was a super genius. Well, I have an answer for that. I know plenty of people who go to these jobs simply because they like that job and they like the employee discount. I've taken jobs like that myself. Hello? They're not too worried about the money because it's a beginner job, or it's supposed to be. Now, do you know any women, especially women? Women do that a lot. They're married, so they don't really need the money. And they go and they have a nice time, especially even the elderly do that. They'll take a job that pays minimum wage. They don't care anything about the money. They like getting out. They like hanging out. And then the young girl hangs out and she doesn't do much work, but I mean, she hangs out with her friends and they come to McDonald's and she sneaks them fries or something like that. And they don't care about the money. They just like hanging out, you know? And that's where the crowd goes. It's a young crowd that's going to come in and they do whatever, right? Or the boys. And he works at And as much as people say, all these people, all these women singers saying, please, you work at McDonald's. Oh, please, you work at Burger King. At that age, that's the boy with the job. Everybody else, they either better have rich parents or they get no play at all because they don't have any money. The guy with the job, he has money. And it's his money. All of it. He doesn't have to pay rent. He doesn't have to feed himself. All of it is his money, and he can take you out, and you can go out on dates, and that's how things work, right? So the employers complain that they need cheaper laborers, and the government allows illegals in instead of simply removing all of the labor taxes. I skipped ahead, I'm sorry. What a lot of people don't know is that the employer has to pay this, that, and the other behind the scenes for each person. So while people are protesting employers, they don't realize they pay everything they pay and pay you in taxes too. Sometimes double, because they have to pay unemployment insurance and all sorts of other carry insurance for everything, right? So they double your salary behind the scenes and they pay that in taxes, all in taxes. So if you get $8, they're paying $8 an hour in taxes. How you like them apples? So let me ask you, did you know that the minimum wage is a big fat lie? What is it, $7.75 or something like that? So what you're actually paid is $15, but the government takes $7.75 away from you right off the top. You don't even get to see it. All of the taxes taken out of your paycheck, that's the government double dipping. You see what I'm saying? So the government takes from the employer $7.75 right off of the top. And the government comes back on your side and says, you have to pay taxes too. Isn't that wonderful? So instead of you making $15 an hour, or better, $30 an hour, you're getting paid $7.75. And guess what? None of those taxes go to pay anything. It's not funding welfare. It's not funding Shaniqua down the road. Do you know that literally all of those taxes, all of the taxes that the people pay goes into a big black hole? That's not where they get the funding. They get the funding from the Federal Reserve. This is not the video for this. So the employers complain that they need cheaper laborers, right? And the government allows illegals in instead of simply removing all of the labor taxes. Or worse, we allow the government to create a school system that dumbs down our children, our future, to create dumb worker drones. Where parents tell, go graduate and get a good job, instead of graduate and welcome to the family business, or start creating a business, or here's now we're going to come back to dad, and dad's going to teach you how to live life. We're going to get you a house. You're gonna work at whatever, and to make some money to fund the house. And you're going to pay cash for the house. So you're going to pay 50 cents on the dollar for the house. Then we're going to start the business. And here's how you start the business. No. They say, get a good job. Those days are over. It's not the 50s anymore. You can't go work for some company for the rest of your life. Those days are over. Why? Because the government. Remember my story about the savants? Most of those that studied the savants all concluded that they were not smarter than the average person. And in fact, they had a lot of drawbacks. They do have a lot of drawbacks. It's just that something clicked in their brain and turned on. Whatever it is, that made them special. I told you magicians do the memorization trick all the time. Guess who else does that? Salespeople. Men and women. I assume women, although I've never seen a woman do it. I did it for for college. Memorization, college, studying. Yep, there you go. And if you want me to make a video for that, subscribe to my Patreon at patreon.com/Shakaama. I'll leave a link in the information box, and I will go over the entire study that I did for college. I'm not going to do that for free anymore because, I mean, it cost me a few $100s, and they sell this book for a few $100s. I mean, there's no sense for me to give that away when you people you don't want it anyway. You don't want free information that makes you money. I'm going to do a separate video on telepathy, but let me ask you, have you ever known exactly what your friend brother, mom, father is about to do without them saying anything. And even if it's out of the blue, you know what they were going to do or say. Yes, that's telepathy. And that's just one aspect of our brain. You have more brain matter than stars in our universe. You see, you have tremendous background noise going on in your brain. Your brain doesn't shut off. Imagine 1,000,000 computers in a room that could hold them all calculating stuff at the same time. That's your brain. And in fact, it's almost immeasurable. 1,000,000 doesn't even count it. It's like, a quadrillion computers all going on at the same time, all in one room, all doing completely separate, different stuff. That's your brain. And our government and school systems have convinced you that having an opinion about the dress is blue or gold is worth your time. Worse than that, you have 3 brains, actually. Actually, you have something more like millions of brains. You have a brain in each of your joints, and so, but I'm not going to confuse you with that. So you have this background brain that thinks of stuff 1,000,000 miles a minute. Then you have your consciousness brain. That is your memory, your logic, the stuff underneath that is your retrieval brain. It's not quite your consciousness, and it's not quite the background, Here's what these evil government shills are telling you. Your conscious brain is your brain. Now, let me educate you on the difference between thought and physical action. The Japanese wanted to bring the speed of your brain to your conscious life. They honed warriors to the point that they could dodge bullets or even block or cut bullets at full speed. What's so amazing about this? The Japanese understood that the brain is immeasurably fast, and that they want to bring that speed into the material world. And that's the revelation when asked a question. It takes your conscious brain effort to move your tongue, your mouth to speak, or type, or write on paper. That speed is not the speed of thought. And this is the lie that these government shills keep talking about. At this point in time, we're creating computers not for their speed or intelligence. We're creating computers to do boring things and not complain about it over and over and over. Facebook upper officer said Sophia, the robot, isn't AI. That it was all a lie, and that she's nothing more than a set of parameters that is memorized. And when they put her in front of whomever, say a journalist or a politician or scientist, she has a set of responses that she repeats. We don't have AI just yet. Why? Because what did I just say? We're creating computers to do boring things and not complaining about it over and over and over. They're not learning to have a personality. They're not learning compassion. They're not even learning to be evil. If they say kill all humans, that's from putting 1 + 1 together. There's nothing about consciousness nor what it even means. I put this last part in my ending. Telepathy is real. Telekinesis is real. Science has created interfaces to move objects, direct electronic devices, everything. A scientist was studying ancient Egypt. He told his scientist friend who worked at NASA what he had discovered. After reading his material, which he was going to present at a scientific symposium, the NASA scientist told him, "Do not present this." What was it that the scientist studying Egypt discovered? He concluded that Egyptians were moving objects with their brains. They had flying machines. They flew around. And they kept a secret to all of these things from Europeans and outsiders who were not African. He didn't listen to his friend from NASA. He was dead a week after his presentation. The answer is they haven't even touched upon the consciousness of the human brain. They haven't even touched upon the peak of the peak of the peak of the tip of the human brain. They have some idea of the locations of things, of what's going on. But the soul of the brain, they haven't even scratched the surface. And for them to make claims they're going to make a computer smarter than humans, not possible. And I believe, it is my opinion, my logical opinion, that they are incapable of ever making a computer that can equate a human brain. It would have to be a biogenetic brain, which means they would have to make something as nearly as humanly possible human. You see what I'm saying? You just cannot equate it. And the idea that you're going to make circuitry run as fast as human brains, not impossible. It doesn't run on anything physical. Our brain doesn't run on anything physical. Your background brain thinks of millions of things each and every second. Our limitation is that we can't get it out of our face fast enough. We can't speak it fast enough. Do you know when you open your eyes and you're seeing stuff around you, that what it is millions upon millions each second pictures? That's it. And this is what people are talking about is, do we really live in reality? Are we sitting in front of a projection screen somewhere deep in the heart of the Matrix, and we're just being fed this visualization of what's really going on around us? We can be fooled. That's not in question. But can a machine equate anything human or the capabilities of humans? We're supposed to be able to teleport to different star systems. We humans, you're supposed to be so smart, if that's the correct word. It's not the correct word. You're supposed to be so advanced that you can think it and you can be in Paris, that you could think it, you could be in Uganda. You can think it, you can be in Belgium. You can think it and you can be in Bavaria or wherever you want to be. Think it Hawaii. Think it on the beach in California. Just by thinking. We have been dumbed down so much that what we think is the smartest human on the planet is dumb in comparison to the potential that human beings have. Why did they kill that guy? Because he was going to bust open the entire system. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please leave a like.